Pedal to the metal. Get ready to ride the green wave with Boaz Bikes, where sustainability meets mobility in an electrifying campaign sure to spark excitement.
Next Pitch TV showcases the most innovative equity crowdfunding campaigns for the verdict of the crowd.
Today, we have the pleasure of introducing the visionary behind Boaz Bikes, none other than the dynamic Emil Nani.
Welcome to Next Pitch TV, where we showcase the most innovative equity crowdfunding campaigns for the verdict of the crowd. And I have to say, I've been really impressed with what I've seen with Boaz Bikes, in the sense that, from my understanding, this is your third campaign. I believe you had two of them on Start Engine, if I'm correct, and this is the first one on WeFund. Is that right, first of all, or am I wrong?
No, our very first one was on WeFunder.
Oh.
So we did WeFunder first, then we went to Start Engine, now we're back at WeFunder.
I beg your pardon. Well, either which way, it's delightful to see that you clearly are taking to the crowd. And quite frankly, at least from my perspective, it's a very logical choice given what you are doing. In other words, the type of business that you're in. But for the benefit of our crowd, or our audience, I should say, would you please give us a summary of what exactly Boaz Bikes does, and equally importantly, how it came about in the first place?
So Boaz Bikes, we are a shared scooter company that's focused on safety, equity, and city relations. I started this company back in 2018 with my co-founder after seeing somebody fall off of it was either a Bird or Lime scooter out in Dallas. And I was running another startup in the transportation space, but I just had that aha moment. Like, I knew that I could build something a lot safer than what Bird and Lime were pushing out on the streets very, very quickly. And that's how Boaz was birthed. We self-funded it in 2018, built the prototype, went out to raise cash, and fast forward now, we've completed over 500,000 rides and 0 reported accidents.
That's amazing. You know, it's kind of funny. I used to have an office at a co-working space called Cross Campus in Santa Monica. And I still very much remember when, as you know, Bird, I think, came from Santa Monica. And I still remember them putting these birds on the street. It's kind of, wow, why would somebody put something, I have no idea what they cost, but let's say $500 or whatever, out there literally for anyone to use at any time? That is really courageous, but it obviously worked out, at least for a while. And it was great to see the development from there. But this is a very American thing to do as far as I'm concerned. In other words, the idea of let's give it a try. This is a whole new direction. And so clearly, you've obviously come to the same conclusion. And I have to say, it is really downright fascinating. Now, you mentioned that you are in another transportation startup prior to this. Is that what I heard?
Right. Yes, I was running another company called Aaron Driver for a few years.
Interesting. So clearly not your first rodeo. In other words, so you really obviously have an inclination towards entrepreneurship even before Boaz. Oh, and I should say Boaz. By the way, what does the name Boaz come from?
So Boaz is actually a biblical name. It's a biblical character. It was the guy in the Bible who was wealthy, strong, great character, everything I thought a company should stand for. And you had all of these companies like Uber, Lyft, Bird, Lime, they all have 4 letters. And I'm like, I need a 4-letter word. And Boaz was there. And I was like, that's it. You know, it's a win for me.
I love it. That is just so great. Now, and you started it off where exactly? I mean, what city?
So we started off in Dallas, Texas, was our very first city. We were trying to get a permit. The city was not working too well with us, but we were still trying, and we signed up 1,000 users. And we ended up moving over to the next city, Plano, Texas, instead of Dallas.
But ultimately it worked out. And this is the whole point when it comes to entrepreneurship. It doesn't matter how good your idea is. That in itself is just the beginning.
It
The
is.
persistence and basically the adjustments, quite frankly, is kind of like, damn, for whatever reason, in this example, Dallas isn't working out. So where can we go to make it happen? And then, ironically enough, I wouldn't be surprised if by now, ironically enough, Dallas may have worked out. Is that actually correct or not?
Not yet. We're in talks to come to Dallas, hopefully this year.
Okay, all right. Well, but you're on your way is what matters. And I noticed that you also have an agreement, a relationship there with the First University, according to your video.
Yeah. So out in Texas, our first university partnership is with Charleston State University. Right now, we're in our second semester, and it's been a phenomenal partnership. And we're looking to secure more university partnerships going into the future.
I mean, it's fascinating. Now, you're not unfamiliar with the fact that it has become somewhat controversial. I'm talking about the equivalent of Buzz. Now, your scooters look a little bit different, but you get the idea. I mean, how are you dealing with that aspect of it? In other words, where, let's say in the case of Europe, a lot of these scooters get thrown in the river and God knows what because of the very convenience factor that you can more or less leave them everywhere. How do you deal with that?
I think, every company is dealing with it. And I just think that we deal with it the best, mainly because we do a lot of forward facing communication where our whole management team is on the front line. They're seeing our videos from the crowdfunding. They're seeing our ads. They know that, hey, this is a small company. This is a minority owned company. Let's support these guys. They see us out there in the communities that we go and deploy in, and they see us building true relationship to grow our numbers. And I think that's given us the upper hand on our competitors to where they're damaging their scooters or they're tossing them in the river. And as far as Boaz, it's like, hey, we need to protect these scooters. Let's don't beat these scooters up as much. But it still happens, and I don't think we can get away from it. But we do our best. We use our AI technology to help us figure out when a scooter is about to be damaged. If a scooter's being moved without a rental, if a scooter's being picked up, it notifies the nearest team member to go and inspect to see what's going on. So we do our part with trying to cut that in half as much as possible.
Oh, I love it. Now, I mean, what is quite fascinating is that, as you pointed out, there are big players here, Lime, Uber, etc. I mean, generally speaking, one would say, oh my God, I don't think you have much of a chance. However, from what I can see from the campaign, it looks quite the opposite. It's kind of like, hey, one of the competitors is already gone, and you appear to be on the growth path, which is a huge achievement in its own right. I mean, how do you see that in terms of your competition and the future?
Yeah, so I think with us, we're in a unique position, mainly because of when the leading competitors, Bird, Lime, Spin, they went out and they raised, $1 billion+ built these crazy infrastructures. As soon as the money dried up, it was like a house of cards. All of the infrastructure started falling apart. Some tried to downsize and it didn't work. And I think with us going through that 2019, 2021 phase of only raising just a little bit of capital, though we tried to raise hundreds of millions like they did, but for whatever reason, we were only able to raise a couple $1,000,000. I think being in that position, we had to learn how to really build a sustainable business and really run lean and be resourceful as possible. So all of that wealth of experience that we gathered over these last few years allowed us to stay alive when other companies started falling. And now we're in this position where a lot of these big players are gone, and just here in the U.S. is, $1 billion in 2023. U.S. share scooters generated over almost $1 billion in revenue, and now that's up for grabs. Going over the next 12 to 24 months, and everybody's out of money, and they're still trying to figure out how to run as lean as we are, and I just think it's an amazing opportunity for us to go and grab as much market share as possible.
I love it. I mean, I think you make a very good point, meaning that fundamentally one assumes that, oh, well, the more money, the better. Are you kidding me? The life goes thing. We accelerate and we get super returns, blah, blah, blah. The reality is that when you have too much money, and especially at the early stage, that creates a whole host of other problems. And as you say, well, we have a big bank account. What the hell do we need to economize for? We are just out for growth, but let's not worry too much about the basics. And that's exactly what happened to Bird, which of course has gone out. So, it is really wonderful to hear how you actually survived, especially Corona. I mean, my God, what a death knell for especially your kind of business, when people are no longer using it. Never mind if they want to or not, they couldn't. That is a real testament to what you're doing, and that you are now step by step going for growth, but in a sustainable way by the looks of it, is just absolutely amazing. So, I mean, tell us, how exactly do you see this in the future? For example, do you anticipate having the equivalent of franchisees in different cities, or what is the idea there?
Yeah, I think with proper funding, and we plan on raising our Series A round this summer. I think with proper funding, we will have to franchise our model out, because the only way this works, and why the bigger players are missing it, is because you have to be able to run lean as much as possible. Our technology is built on the operations side, whereas Bird and Lime, they spent millions on theirs, and it's mainly for the user side. But on the operations side, we run it extremely well and run it extremely lean. And bringing in franchise owners, it's their business. They're going to watch it the same way we're watching it. And for us to be able to scale to, 30, 50, 100 markets, and still love each market like we do now. We're in 5 markets, and we love each one because we're small enough to love on them. But bringing in those franchises is going to be key, and making it affordable for the franchisees to get into it. And they're going to be successful. We'll be successful. I think that's the best way for us to scale moving forward.
Right. I mean, what is fascinating is that clearly you, on the technological end, I'm talking about the computer software aspect of it, clearly you've done something right, which is no small feat. In other words, there's a huge difference between the physical aspect of, here's a scooter, go ahead and rent it, etc., we'll distribute and what have you, versus the other part of it, which is the entire back end. Making sure that the payment works properly, smoothly, efficiently, reliably. This is a whole different animal. It's kind of like, yeah, I may be good at finding and maintaining the scooters and so on, but boy, this is a totally different game. That you've been able to master that is quite amazing. I mean, do you have any background in the computer part of this at all, or a partner there or something?
No. I'm self-taught though. I come from a mechanical background, but I been teaching myself how to code for the last few years, and just from other tech startups that I've built along the way.
Oh, unbelievable. I take my hat off, or I would if I had one. But I mean, that's really impressive. Now, have you considered applying to things like Y Combinator or Techstars, for example?
Yeah, so we applied to YC. We applied to Techstars. We were approved for Techstars last year, but we didn't go through that program. I think early on we really needed them we really needed them early on, and just wasn't able to get in early on.
Well, I mean, you definitely might want to consider redoing it, especially as you say, if you're looking down the road to get your Series A and so forth. That would be obviously everybody loves the idea of being, in effect, approved by one or the other. It's a little like saying, oh, I went to Harvard, So that would definitely make it easier to raise funding, especially given that you already have positive traction. It's not just an idea. You guys are delivering, which I think is absolutely phenomenal. So, okay, I mean, that is absolutely great. We will go ahead and get this published, including, by the way, the video that you have on the WeFunder campaign, so that everybody can get the full picture, as it were. It's a fascinating campaign, and I wish you all the very best of luck with it. Are there any other questions that I can help you with otherwise before we go?
No, I absolutely love it. Thanks for the opportunity. And then whenever you publish it, if you can send me a link so I can get it out there as well.
I appreciate that. In fact, ironically enough, we ourselves are doing a Test the Waters campaign on WeFunder, of all places. So anybody is welcome to, obviously, or encouraged to support us at nextpitch.tv. And there's a link to the campaign because, hey, we're in the equity crowdfunding space. We should use it ourselves. So that's exactly what we're doing. But I'm really thrilled to have this opportunity, and thank you very much indeed. No?
Thank you.
Have a great day.
You too, my friend.
And there you have it. Boaz Bikes isn't just about revolutionizing mobility. It's about paving the way for a greener, safer future on our streets. Join the ride and let's make a difference together. To know more about the featured campaign, subscribe now to nextpitch.tv.